Hey guys, I am Miss Lacie and I'm from the Boys and Girls Club on the South Side. I am back here to share a little art history 101 with you guys. I thought it would be really cool to show you some of my favorite books of some of the favorite artists that I have, as well as kind of give you a little introduction on who they are and what kind of art they mainly deal in. I think art is so very important, and I know when I was in school that was one of my favorite classes that I took. First I'm going to start with Georgia O'Keeffe. She is most definitely one of my favorite, and I pulled up a little background that I wanted to read to you. Okay, who is she and what is she famous for? She was born in 1887. Georgia O'Keeffe was an American artist who painted nature in a way that showed how it made her feel. She is best known for her paintings of flowers and desert landscapes. She played an important part in the development of modern art in America, becoming the first female painter to gain respect in the New York art world in the 1920s. Her unique and new way of painting nature, simplifying its shapes and forms, meant that she was called a pioneer. And what inspired her was definitely a lot of landscapes, which I will show you some of her work in here. Lots of hills and just different landscapes. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys some of her work. This is one that she titled My Backyard. It was oil on canvas, and she did this in 1930. It says, attracted by the beautiful and lonely vistas of the Southwest, O'Keeffe called the cliffs and canyons of New Mexico my backyard. And this is my backyard. I love that. And then here is just to give you a good idea of all the different types of work that she did. This is called End of Barns. This was made in 1922, and it's also oil on canvas. So it's just like paintings of barns, miscellaneous landscapes. And then you even have something like this, which is totally like abstract, and this is called Evening Star the Third. It says, O'Keeffe created a series of 10 watercolors based on Texas sunsets. So this kind of was one of her ideas from a Texas sunset. And these two I really love. The first one is Blue and Green Music, which is one of my favorite by her. I really love that one. And this is another really nice one. I'm trying to see if I can find an actual photo of her. I'm sure there's one in here, that way you guys can see. So this is her and Miss Chester Dale, a prominent art collector, together in New York. And that photo was 1940, January 24th, 1940. She is the one without the hat, the younger of the two. So yeah, that's a little insight to Georgia O'Keeffe. I definitely recommend her if you are into art. And then the second would be, of course, Mr. Picasso. And I hope that most of you know who Mr. Picasso is. If not, I hope that they will be going into that in art class, because very, very, very important to know about Picasso. Then I also have a little introduction of Picasso. So Pablo Picasso was born in 1881 and died in 1973. Pablo Picasso was one of the greatest artists of the 20th century, famous for paintings and of the art movement known as Cubism, which if I can find some in here, which I'm pretty sure there's some photos of Cubism, I will show you what that exactly means. Pablo Picasso was a Spanish painter, sculptor, printmaker, ceramicist, and stage designer, and considered one of the greatest and most influential artists of the 20th century. So yeah, let's dive into Pablo. He's a master. He's done so many different things, and a lot of the stuff in here is his sketches. I'm trying to get some that are in color. Here's one. This would be a great example of cubism. I will debauch the pronunciation because it is Italian, so I'm not even going to try. But this is like one of my favorite paintings. I have it downstairs in color. There's some really cool ones. Picasso was known to have different eras of bodies of his work. Cubism being one of them. He's very popular for a lot of stuff like this. So yeah, that's Pablo Picasso, another artist I very, very, very much recommend looking into if you're into art. And then last but not least, one of my other very, very, very top favorites is Claude Monet. Very, very, very much enjoy his work. And I will also pull up a little biography about him, so that way you guys can learn a little bit about him before I show you his pictures. Let's see. Claude Monet, born November 14th, 1840 in Paris, France, died in December the 5th, 1926 in France, I believe. And he was a French painter who was the initiator, leader, and unswerving advocate of Impressionistic style, which I have another book down there I should have brought up so I could go into Impressionistic style, but most of his mature works are ideally Impressionism. Monet developed his method of producing repeated studies of the same motif in series, changing canvases with the light or as his interest shifted. These series were frequently exhibited in groups. For example, his images of Haystack in 1890-91 and the Routon Cathedral in 1894 were at his home. Monet created the water lily pond that served as an inspirational piece for his last series of paintings, which is one that's very popular, and I'm assuming if you guys learned about him in any of your art classes, or if you haven't yet, I'm sure you will, that's one that's very, very popular. It's very, very famous. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go into, and I'll see if I can find, I know it's in here. This is actually one of my favorite paintings of all time. I wanted to share with you guys. This is such a beautiful painting, and it's of a little boy, it appears, and a woman with an umbrella in a field of poppies, and I love that. This is also a very famous one, The Luncheon. That one's also really nice. Here's some turkeys. This book is huge. There's so much in here. I love it. And what's great is I found all of these books for very inexpensive at half-price books. Oh, here's some really nice ones. I love these too. Another field of poppies. That one's really cool. So yeah, that's just kind of a taste for some of my favorite artists. I thought it'd be kind of fun to share and show you guys a little bit more about me and what I enjoy. So yeah. We got Pablo Picasso, look him up. Georgia O'Keeffe, look her up, and Claude Monet. All very highly influential artists that if you love art, if you're passionate about art, or even if you just like looking at it, I highly recommend these guys. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks, guys.